Hello, good morning. I'm Ted from The Devil's in the Detail. Before I start the work on this Ford Mexico, I feel that it's important to give a little bit of the history of the car before its current owner got the car. Because although I've got lots of work to do to try and make it more presentable, the car was built by somebody who's not a painter, he's a mechanic, and you'll see as we go on that the mechanical side of this car is absolutely impeccable. But he was only ever building it for himself, and he painted it himself, and he's not a painter. Like I say, it was just going to be a toy for him to play in. His pal, who's now the current owner, pestered him to sell it in, and he finally gave in and sold him the car. Now, Matt, who owns the car now, he's got a small collection of Fords, show cars, and he wants this as close to being a good show car as I can get it. Now, I've got to say, first and foremost, I can only work with the paint, and yes, the chap's painted it himself. And to be fair, he's flatted and polished it himself. And you'll see as I go along, I'm going to try and correct some of the things that, normal body shop stuff that we see all the time, and it needs finishing properly. But I just wanted to really, set the sort of thing. I don't want people slating the bloke that built it, because he was building it for himself, and he was going to use it and play in it and do some mini rallies, I suppose. That's why it's got the CB lights on the front and stuff, and he was never going to sell it. It's only that he was pestered and he's giving, and the current owner wants to do what he wants to do, and I'm going to try my best to give him that. The bodywork could have been better that's underneath the paint, but it's a Ford Escort at the end of the day. People that build them themselves and don't send them away and have £20,000 worth of bodywork to get them to like a concours condition, it's a different kettle of fish. Now, the car's beautiful. Those that love Fords, and just even seeing it, I would happily drive this car as it is, because I think when you get them too good, you're frightened of using them, because you're spending a lot of money, trying to make them look more show worthy, and then it takes away the ability to go and throw it round, get stone chips and all them sort of things. So the car is going to get as much love as it needs. I'm going to get it to the best that I can do, given what I've got. And I do expect, there's always negative vibes, with any car. We have Ferraris in that you can see DA marks under the paint and that. So it isn't about how much money you spend, it makes no difference. Now, we're going to get this car as good as we can get it. It's probably going to take me 4 or 5 weeks to do it, and every detail that I can do is going to be done. Now, the final result I'm hoping that it will take away this I've just been painted look, and that's what it looks like at the moment. I'm going to try and get it as flat as I can without breaking through anywhere. There is plenty of paint on it, but I do need to wet flat the whole car. So I'm going to have to strip the door panels off, take the door handles, the mirror out, and anything that's in the way of me flatting has got to be removed. And the rear spoiler I'm taking off, and I'm going to re-dye it. The polyurethane has bleached, so I'm going to try dyeing it so that goes back to what it should look like. We can't get any of the ripples out, that the bodywork's created, but back in the day, this would be more than acceptable how the car is at the moment. So I just wanted to say that don't slate the bloke that done the body work. When I go around and show what I've got to do, you know, I'm sure people will think, well, they could have done that better. Yeah, they could have, but it's more time, more time, more time. And when they're building it for the self to use, and he's a mechanic, you can't expect everything. I do expect the mechanical to be right, but like any build, we ain't all experts at everything. So, you know, do bear in mind that the chap built this with love, for himself. So later on, I'm going to add a video to this. We'll go around and look at some of the issues that I'm going to try and put right. And, you know, there's going to be multiple episodes on this car. And I know it gets boring, but I try and keep the episodes to 10 or 15 minutes. And, you know, if I just cut everything out along the way, you'd have nothing left, you know, because I'd be editing out a lot of the work that goes into doing what we do. This isn't a normal detail. It's, you know, this is a paint restoration. You know, so it's going to have a lot more work than what a normal detail would. You know, it's not just going to be polishing. It's going to be wet sanded, and you know, we're going to go into details which, under normal circumstances, a detailer couldn't spend the time to do that. So keep watching. You know, I know there's loads of Ford lovers out there like myself, and hopefully at the end of it, it'll be a little treasure. But I think it's a treasure now. You know, I mean, the excitement of having a Ford in the shop. You know, this is my era of car, and you know, I've had multiple Escorts myself. I worked at a Ford specialist, and so I'm really excited to get this job to do. And I want to create something that the owner is going to be proud of, and myself, like I do all my jobs. So I'll see you a little bit later. We'll go around the car, we'll have a look at some of the issues, and I'm going to get on with it. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, let's have a look around the car and see some of the issues. Now I'm going to try and show some of the little imperfections, but you know, in general, there's basically flattening marks, which is pretty much most of it. The orange peel is not even in anywhere around the car, but you could see, you know, from the swirling, there's lots of flattening marks still in the panels, and buffing trails, and this part isn't as bad. I mean, we've got some in the paint there that we've got to deal with, and when we go down to the bottom of the panel and start looking, most of this is flatted, and really the polishers just had a look at it. It ain't really cut anything out of it. So as we go across the panel and the wheel arch, you can see certainly there's flattening marks all the way around this panel, and all this is flatting and not being polished out. As we go around the car, we just pretty much see the same on every panel. But just along this part, if I can show it under the mirror, see if I can actually get some light around here. There's some deep scratches and a couple of paint blemishes. This is not showing it up very well, but you'll see the distortion in the light. So the mirror will have to come off so I can flat that out. And then the orange peel changes as we get onto the front wing. And again, as we go down the panel, you can pretty much see. I mean, a lot of this is probably sinkage. The paint's been on for a while now, and you know, it's sunk back, which in some ways is good for me, because it shouldn't sink much more after I've flatted and polished it. But in general, basically it's just putting right the finish. The roof, you know, that's been flatted and polished, but there's a lot of scratching in and again, it just hasn't been polished properly, or I say properly, but it's not to a finished standard. The boot lid, again, pretty much the same. The bits that are concerning, or more concerning to me, are the edges around where the windows fit. Excuse me. Is very, very dry and doesn't look like there's a lot of paint for me to work it down. I'll do what I can. And we'll go to the driver's side of the car. This pillar, you can see, that's either the halo from where it's been painted up to, but again, it's really dry as we follow the moulding round. And then we go into the part that never gets done properly, which is the guttering. The guttering is really, really dry, as you can see there. So that goes the full length of the car. So we'll be needing to do that. The sides are the same as the other side, although we've got a blemish in the paint there. Don't know what it is yet, but it's actually in the paint, but that should come out with flatting. Flatting marks, you can see all the flatting marks are all the way along the edge. The door around this handle, the handle's got to come out so that we can get the blocking and try and flatten some of it out. And as you can see, around the handle there's not been touched at all, so that handle's got to come out, and the same with the mirror. There's some deeper flatting marks in this side. I wish I was better with a camera and I'll be able to show you better, but it is what it is. There's a couple of really bad scratches, as you can see there. And in front of the mirror is just not pretty at all. And then we get to the front wing. Now, I did notice somewhere along this wing there is some really bad marks as you can see. And then again we get down to the lower parts of the car that haven't been treated too well. More marks in the paint there. Then we've got the side edges of the bonnet. Now I don't know for the life of me what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to have a go, but they don't look a lot of paint. But you can see also underneath the bonnet I'd like to remove the paint run that you can see there and smooth the orange peel out. I'm not going to be able to get it all out, and you know, from experience I know what I can get out and what I can't. On the inside of the bonnet it's just about how much paint's on it, because it doesn't look as much paint as on the outside of the car, but you can see the orange peel and whatnot. So we'll have to see. I'll have to take the bonnet off for that. It's about the same all over. I'm going to polish the flitches and all under the engine bay as much as I can, but to be fair, they're finished really well. Bit orange peely, but that's not a problem. The bumper and front panel again is pretty much the same. Going round to the doors. Now this is on the inside of the doors. You can see again flatted marks all the way along, and these are the inside of the doors. So I want to get that better, as will the door shuts and the sills. Anywhere I can get to put it right I will do. Now I did say it's going to be a long job. It'll take as long as it takes. Again, round the door seals, you know, it's very dry paint. But overall, I mean, when we look at the car from here, I mean, I'm only 3 foot away from the car, and apart from the finishing, now I can just see, if I can get the light just right, there's a scar in the panel. Can you see there, just as it's interrupting that light, there's a scar or a sinkage across the wing. So I'll block that out as well. The bonnet, if I can just excuse my camera angle, let's get the bonnet down. Now it looks like, I don't know whether we're going to be able to show this up at all, but we have got speckles of paint or primer or something that's all over the bonnet. It's embedded into the paint, it don't clay bar off, so we're going to be doing some extensive flatting on the bonnet as well. I'll just flat the whole bonnet and see if we can't remove that, because it looks like we're looking at the planets, so that's got to come out. The edges of the panels, obviously when they've been working it and mopping it, they've stayed well away from the edges, which I don't blame them. The problem is for me to make it look half decent, I've got to go by the edges. And the back 3 inches of the bonnet has not been had any treatment. It's not been flatted or polished, so you can see, you know, it's when you look from here it don't look bad. Start getting closer, so there's plenty to do. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start at this rear quarter, because you know, there is a fair bit to put right there, and I'm going to do that and see how that comes out to judge how good I can get the rest of the car. So that's about it for now. Obviously I'll film it as I go along, or bits of it. I won't be able to film, it'll be hours and hours and days, so I'll show as much as I can, and then we'll get it as good as we can, and see if it makes enough difference before the decals go on. I'm pretty confident that I can make this look nice. It's just a matter of time, that's all. So there we have it. Beautiful car. I love it and I drive it as it is, but I'm sure I can make it look even better. So I'll see you on the next episode, probably be in a couple of days, but that gives you some sort of insight of, you know, how the car come to us, and a bit of a history of it. Right, so I'll see you on the next one, and start getting some work done. See you later, and thanks for watching.